Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show. Autumn is here. I am your host, Francine Crawford. And today we have a special guest. We have someone from MJHS. He is the Assistant Director of Admissions at MJHS Menorah Center for Rehabilitation and Nursing. Right?
Yes.
Did I get that right? Okay, that's
You
a lot.
did.
And his name is Maicel
That's a lot.
MorKos Saweris.
Yes.
And we're glad to have him here. We thank you so much for being here and taking the time out. I know you have a busy schedule, and I really appreciate that. But MJHS has been a supporter of mine, and I really appreciate them giving me people to talk more about what you do there and how you help people and things like that. So, welcome to my show.
Thank you for having me, Francine. I've had the opportunity to check out some of your content. So I'm just, very fortunate to be part of this with you. Thank you for having me. I wanted to just share a little bit about my experience and as
Okay.
far as talking about what's going to happen with someone's care when they're trying to choose a nursing home or a rehab center.
Okay.
I want to make the
Great.
process as easy as possible.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, because it's very, it's a very difficult decision to make, and it's a very, it's a step that people are not familiar with. So
Yeah,
it's good to be able to have someone to kind of explain things, especially ahead of time before you have to make that decision. So, thank you for joining us, and just tell me a little bit about what you do there in your position at MJHS and to help people to make a better decision.
okay. I started my career roughly about 15 years ago as a social worker, and now I'm part of the admissions team at MJHS Menorah Center for Rehabilitation and Nursing Care. We definitely know that it's a hard process to choose a rehab center or nursing care for a loved one. We want to make it as seamless as possible.
Right.
But I want to share a little bit about MJHS Menorah Center. We are a thriving community
Okay.
on 10 acres of land here in Manhattan Beach, lovely ocean view rooms and serene environment. We offer short-term, long-term care,
Mm.
hospice care, and memory care all on our campus. So you don't have to go to different places for any of those levels of care.
Oh,
We have an exceptional kitchen and dining experience here. No one complains about the food. Everyone loves it. And the activities, you could walk around the floors and just see music therapy going on, lots of activities in the auditorium, and myriad of things that keep the residents and patients engaged.
okay. Okay. So listen, when you look for a nursing home, there's a lot of misconceptions about nursing homes and what they're there for and what they should do, and people don't understand. So can you explain a little bit to make people more comfortable when they're looking for a nursing home, like what the
Absolutely.
misconception may be?
I do this day to day, so
You
it's
really?
very comfortable to me to kind of explain how to navigate here when you're looking to choose a facility. There are a lot of negative connotations about rehab centers and nursing homes. There are really great ones out there, and I think people need to really change their mindset about them. One thing you do want to, well, we call it like the three C's. There's three things you want to look for: care, connectedness, and community. So a little bit about the care. When you're selecting a facility, you want to assess the level of care that your loved one has and what that facility is offering. Is it
Mhm.
short term that they offer? Is it long term? Do they offer a transition from short term to long term? And those are things that you want to know ahead of time so that you don't find yourself in a position where you've selected a facility and then you find out later that your loved one can't stay there because that level of care is not available long term. So that's important. You also want to know if there's any specialized care that your loved one has. Are do they have feeding tube needs, or is there a specialist that they need to see? And don't be turned off by the facility saying that they don't offer that level or that care, because it could be something that they can arrange transportation to and from. So don't eliminate until you completely know. all the facts. The second thing, connectedness. Is this a facility that's near everyone? Is it near visitors? Are you easily able to access the facility if your loved one needs you? Is there parking? Is there transportation? You want to know that not only for you as the person scoping out the facility, is it convenient, but also for other members of the family.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you select something that's more makes sense for everyone, so to speak. And then community, that comes down to vibe. Like, is there activities? Is there are the residents engaged? Is there a lot of downtime? You want to really assess that in person.
Mhm.
That's the best way. You don't want to just look at websites and reviews. Those are good tools. I don't want to say they're not,
Mhm.
but going in person and seeing the level of liveliness is really a good sense of where your loved one will be engaged and how they will be engaged.
Okay. So when you go in person,
Mm.
what particular things do you look for? Like, when you go, are you just looking at the place, if it's crowded, if it's, staffed well, what are the things that you're looking for?
Well, when you schedule a tour and you're there, if you can't, you could always check out their websites at there are always virtual tours that are available on websites. But if when you go in person, you do want to look for cleanliness.
Mhm.
Um, am I going to be comfortable with my mom being here, or my dad, or my grandmother? Is there proper lighting? Is it an environment that's going to nurture them and
Mhm.
really help them thrive?
Right.
A shout out to MJHS Menorah. We have an excellent maintenance team. They keep our floors spotless, and no one ever complains about that here.
Okay.
But it is something you want to look out for. You want to really assess too when you're touring how staff is interacting with the patients or residents.
Mm.
It's really telling of how your loved one is going to be treated and whether or not they're going to be engaged to the level of your liking. You want to make sure that as a visitor, if you ask a question to a staff member, that they're responsive, that they are welcoming and friendly and smiling. Is this a smiley environment? You want to make sure all those things that you want for yourself and your loved one are happening. Um, that's primarily what you want to look for when you visit.
Okay. Okay. And let me ask you about visiting. What are the hours? Is it a 24-hour thing? Is it a certain amount of hours? What are the hours that you can visit your loved one?
We at MJHS Menorah don't have set time visiting hours. We welcome our loved ones visitors anytime. It's not something that is set in stone. Of course, when someone has a roommate, it's a little bit, you want to be mindful that they're sharing a room with someone. So as a visitor, you want to be mindful of that. But as far as us, we welcome visitors anytime.
Okay, so do you have like family spaces? If like a lot of people come, do you have a place where they have either living room or dining room or some place where they can gather?
There are common areas on the floors that have relaxing spaces like couches and chairs. The rooms are very spacious, so they're more than welcome to stay in the rooms as well. But the part that having those separate spaces on the unit allows them to step away for their own time. Um, it's something that we have available to them.
Okay. Do you have any outside gardens and places where they can sit outside?
Yes, our grounds are beautiful. We have lots of um, benches, chairs. You often see family members outside walking along the boardwalk, just getting some fresh air off the water. It's very serene and quiet. There's trees, so you get some shade outside. It's never a time where you don't see people walking around, especially when it's nice out right now.
Yeah.
Um, it's beautiful. We welcome tours and visitors to come see anytime, just even if they wanted to see what the outside or the grounds look like, we welcome that.
Okay. So do you have short-term stay and long-term stay?
Yes, we do offer short-term rehabilitation services and long-term care. Now,
Hmm.
the difference is primarily people don't always know the difference, other than what's obvious. But the long term is primarily for residents who are living here, deciding that home is not an option as far as safely managing their care. We do offer that transition from short term to long term, where the needs are. We definitely fill those gaps and make sure the residents are there's a space for them. Short term is for physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. Those are primarily for patients who have had a recent hospital stay and need
Okay.
to get a little bit stronger before returning home, whether it be surgery, they've had a stroke or a fall, a number of accidents or something. They definitely are candidates for the rehab after the
Okay.
hospital stay, and then they go home from there.
Okay. So if you're there for short term and then you have to be there for a long term, as far as being admitted, is it like a big difference in the admission process?
Admission process from short term to long term to
Hmm.
transition.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not as complicated as most people think it is.
Okay.
Um, there's a financial component to it. Typically a short-term stay or short-term benefit with insurance does not have a long-term benefit. So you have to assess the financial piece as far as Medicaid and being eligible for Medicaid to cover that long-term stay.
Hmm.
It's a seamless process. Our admissions process walks the family through it from the beginning in case that there is a need for a transition. We let them know who the key players are in terms of our finance office to contact to get the ball rolling while their loved one is in the short-term stay.
Okay, okay. So when you have people, I'm sure you have people from different places. It's not always in the same area. If you have people that have family members who live in different states or different cities and they can't see them that much, how do you engage them? If there you have people there that may not have a lot of visitors because their family lives far or whatever reason.
That's an excellent question, and that's often the case in
Uh,
here in
okay.
metropolitan New York. There's a lot of the children of our loved ones here as patients live in other states, other cities, neighboring cities. And in any event, on admission, we contact families and make sure that they get the number to the nursing station,
Mhm.
the number to the actual room. We have a complimentary phone in every room, so they could reach their loved one directly. If their loved one is unable to manipulate the phone or use the phone on their own, they can call the nursing station to ask to speak to them directly or just to check in. Also, we have recreation therapists here. And for those of you who don't know what they are, they do all the therapeutic activities for our residents and patients on site. At MJHS Menorah, they're phenomenal. They will make sure residents are engaged with families, that they are in communication. They'll even do FaceTime with them. They'll set up a Zoom or any kind of virtual visit with their loved one who may not be able to visit. So a lot of that is important for emotional support, for recovery, um, just to know that they're staying connected with their loved ones helps tremendously with their recovery and well-being.
Okay. So, what if the care gets more serious or changes? Maybe they come in for physical issues and physical means, and
Mhm.
then maybe they have a memory, start having a memory issue or dealing a little bit with dementia. Do you have facilities for that?
Yes, we have an excellent memory care unit here, or multiple memory care units here for residents or patients who need to transition as residents for long-term care for their memory care. Uh, Obviously, not everyone who has some level of dementia has to go into a nursing home. It's
Right.
really not the first resort, so to speak.
Hmm.
There could be options with our social work team here. They'll work with families to see what home care agencies can offer in terms of a discharge plan to have the care managed at home, and that's really the goal. And with every patient and every resident that we work with, but if they cannot be managed at home and they do need that level of care
Right.
24/7 in a nursing home or rehab center, we are definitely able to offer that.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Well, that's great. That's great that you have that if that becomes a need for people, you know,
Absolutely.
especially when people are already familiar with a place and they're used to their loved one being there. If
Yeah.
something should happen and their care changes, they would probably want them to stay there, and you were able to give them that support in that way. So that's great.
Absolutely. And, the last thing we need to do, like we can adjust ourselves to changes a little bit easily. With the populations we work with, change is big, and something that seems so small as changing from one facility to another, it can really be a huge interruption for them.
Hmm.
So we want to make sure that the process is seamless. At MJHS Menorah, we walk the families from the beginning, from the point of admission. Our job's not over once we have a patient come in. We
Hmm.
are in contact with the families along the way. We check in, see how things are going. In addition to us, we also have patient representatives who check in as well, make sure if there's any adjustments or concerns, they're addressing them along the way and through transitions.
Okay, so do you have social workers that are available to speak to families at any time?
They are here during the day, the
Okay.
business hours. They can be reached on the floors. Oftentimes they have offices, and it's an open door policy. They can speak to patients and families anytime. Of course, everyone gets busy, but they are reachable, and they should be able to provide the support that residents need here.
Okay, and some of the activities. Can
Mhm.
you tell me a little bit about some of the activities that you may have for them? Because some people be there for a long time. So,
Yes.
you need to have some things in place that will continue to keep them motivated and keep them socializing. So, can you tell me some of the activities?
Um, in most rehab centers, there's some common ones, but I will speak specifically about MJHS Menorah.
Okay.
We have art therapy, we have music therapy. We invite outside organizations to come in and perform, whether it be a school or a band, to perform for our residents and patients. We have bingo games. They have individual games.
Mm,
They'll invite patients and residents specifically for like one-on-one interaction to play a card game. So there's not only a group level of interaction, but there's individual, and that's so important. Um, with downtime, there can be downtime in the interim of rehab and occupational therapy. So they want to make sure that we utilize that time really well, and they definitely do an exceptional job here at MJHS Menorah Center.
okay, okay, all right. So, well, we have a good covering of nursing homes and at least what's happening at MJHS. But let me know if there's anything else that you think that families should know or people who may be considering it, because it's a hard thing to do to be able to say, okay, take your parent out of their home and put them in a nursing home. So if there's anything that you can say that would, comfort them.
Well, I did mention before, it's not the easiest um, thing to decide that you want your loved one to come to a rehab center. Um, it's not always the first resort, but I wouldn't absolve it as a possibility at all. I would make sure that it's definitely on the table, because there's some really good services patients can benefit from. The rehab is really more intensive in a rehab center than it is at home. Not to negate the importance of it being at home, but it's really every day and more intensive here. So the recovery is definitely the results kind of speak for themselves. Um, Tour. I would tell you to come tour. Call the admissions office. Ask them to tour. That's the best way. You get gut feelings. You can assess them there. Um, it's really the best way. If you can't come in person, ask how you can
Right.
access virtual tours. If you can't go yourself or access the virtual tours yourself, you could ask a friend or a loved one or a sibling whoever it may be, a trusted individual, to do that tour on your behalf. And that's the best way to really assess how your loved one will be treated, and the kind of care that they're going to get. Don't always look at reviews. Reviews are what they are. Google reviews are good tools. I don't want to say they're not, but the best way to do it is in person. And also, before selecting a facility, it's important to kind of know the level of coverage that you do have, so that you don't have any surprises along the way. Ask all the questions. Come create a list of questions and be ready, so that you have all your ducks in a row. You want to know the cares level that you need, and you also want to know the type of coverage that you have and how long that will cover your loved one for. That way, there's no surprises, and you could learn to plan along the way when those timeframes come.
When people come on tour, do you encourage them to speak to the people that are there, the residents that are there, and ask them about it?
Um, Absolutely, if they are able to.
Okay.
We definitely try to engage our residents with visitors. It is a friendly environment, so it hasn't been unheard of. We've done it before.
Okay.
Um, is it a common practice? Probably not always, but we definitely do. We have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So just want to know that you're open to different things because people, it's their family and they want to know everything. So sometimes it's good to get some opinion from the people that are actually living there or actually participating. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, we definitely don't discourage it at all. It's definitely a good way to get a sense from someone who's experiencing it. Why not? That's actually, it's a good thing that you brought up to my attention. It's not always a common thing that we do, but you know, maybe the best thing to do it now.
Yeah. 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 So let me ask you, what is your favorite part about being the assistant director of admissions? What is your favorite part about working there at MJHS?
I think my favorite part about the role here is educating families, letting them know it's going to be okay. There's a lot of fear, especially if it's their first time with a loved one being in a skilled
Mhm.
facility, or not going home from the hospital, or having to access a different level of care. We try to ease their fears, let them know everything they need to know as far as what to expect and to anticipate when their loved one does arrive. We also want to provide them with tools that they need as far as how to navigate. Like, it's such a scary thing sometimes to know, like, I'm going into this facility, I don't know who to speak to. It's so big. There's so many different roles and different people. And I'm not sure which one does what. We explain all of that. And I think, that's how I would want to be treated if I was in that position, to select, having to select a facility. If someone's forthcoming and guiding me along the way, it's kind of telling of what kind of culture the place has. And I like representing good care. And I think I that's the most important thing to me on a day-to-day basis. And I know that stems from social work, but I do also love visiting patients in hospitals. I
Okay.
try to do that from the start. My colleague and I kind of tag team and go to different hospitals to meet patients who've selected our facility, kind of
Mhm.
start the ball rolling with the connection there. I think is so important because they hold on to that. Someone's looking out for them. They hold on to that, and families hold on to that. And any requests or special requests that they might have, we know that already from the beginning. And it's
Right.
sort of, we take that and kind of set the stage for when they arrive.
That's great. That's great that you go out and to the hospitals and stuff like that. That's really good. That's really good. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for your time and giving us this information and some insight into MJHS and what you do and how, you know, trying to make nursing homes the option, not so scary for everybody. So that's really good. So I thank you so much for just being here and taking the time to do this.
Thank you so much. And I also just want to mention, if you want to know more information about MJHS Menorah Center,
Uh,
you can go to mjhs.org, and you can check out rehab centers and find Menorah Center. You could see a virtual tour, and there's some literature there on the services we provide. Also, we're on socials at MJHS Menorah Center.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again. All right. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.